Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'm looking at the first of a series of books in a very special project by Ted Adams's Clover Press. Ted is a really, really great guy. He was one of the founders of IDW and has been super supportive to Sean and I through everything that we've done. Ted was kind of the guy that got Dave started on Strange Death of Alex Raymond and has been super supportive of us through that whole process of getting that put out, and then continues to be super helpful to Sean. He left IDW and went and made his own boutique press, Clover Press, but they got the rights to the American Library of Comics version of Terry and the Pirates, and they're doing like a deluxe version of these books that will be coming out. So this is the first volume, and then they actually released along with this, if you pre-ordered it, they've got a cool where it's a subscription. So I've subscribed, and then I'll just be getting 2 of these a year. But part of that subscription process was you get book 13, which I'll go through in a little bit. But it's pretty much like, the history of Terry and the Pirates. I've never read Terry and the Pirates, so I'm really excited to. I dipped in a little bit, but I'm expecting that the story is pretty much just like comic strip action adventure stuff, so I don't need to break that down. I just wanted to give people a preview of what this looks like. First off, it's a huge book, so you can see this is our buddy Brandon Graham's Rain Like Hammers. This is a normal like Image comic trade paperback, so this is a huge book. They said that the reason that they did this huge size on these is because on this collection for the first time, I'm gonna blank on the name of it. What is it? It's the place in Ohio State, the Billy Ireland cartoon collection in Ohio State. Open up the vaults and let them come in and scan the original artist proofs from Milt Caniff's studio of the Sunday pages. So this is the best quality Sunday pages you can get really in reproduction. Now, those are still artist proofs from the newspaper, so, to my eyes, someone who's become really picky about reproduction, it's still, it's not what it would be like if we still had access to the original artwork and you could scan the artwork and do that. But this is absolutely the best, given the available resources, reproduction of the Sundays that you could get. So that's really, really cool. And these are the original size that they would have been released at in Caniff's local newspaper, is what it said in the front, which is how they determined the size of the book. So that's really cool. In the little bit that I did read, it's really interesting to see what would now be, seen as completely inappropriate characters, racial characters. And, that's just, I'm glad that they're not editing that stuff out. It's history. That's how things were, and I think it's better to be able to see how things were than to go back and edit that out and forget it. So I'm glad that they've kept that, kind of dialect and stuff that they've put in there, and the racist caricatures. This was started in 1935. It started in 1934, like early December 1934. Yeah, first week of December 1934, December 9th, so second week. It's also interesting to note that Flash Gordon would have started in January of 1934, so they're talking about this as like one of the seminal adventure strips. I didn't look up when Prince Valiant had started, but it's interesting to see this kind of style compared to what we know Alex Raymond was doing on Flash Gordon, which was much more illustrative. This is more cartoony, and that's, in Strange Death of Alex Raymond, Dave goes into that quite a bit. One thing I was interested to see in this is that Milt Caniff, on a quick glance through the art, is not like the Milt Caniff that we know yet. Like the looseness and the brushiness of it all isn't there yet. It's a lot more clean line, and there's a lot less use of these dramatic blacks everywhere. You see them starting to pop up in the backgrounds, but this looks like older cartoon strip stuff to me. Something else that's cool that they've done in this is they have the date, and then each strip has a title. Because they have the space of the Sundays in there, there's a little bit of border in between here. But I'm glad that because they had extra space to play with, they did that. This seems like a really good way to document as close to what it looked like as possible, which is what you want out of an archival project like this. In terms of reproduction, again, it seems to vary strip by strip, and I understand that they're working with the best available resources. Sometimes they just have, the best available newspaper thing that they've got, or an artist's proof that they've got. Sometimes they've got negatives, and then sometimes if it's in the Billy Ireland, I'm sure, given that they scanned the artist's proof, that they were scanning the actual art. So sometimes it's a little gummed up, sometimes it looks really nice. From a distance, it all looks pretty good, but sitting there reading it, I can definitely see, it's so unfortunate that, like, when these things were being made, people just didn't value the originals, and it's no fault of Clover Press that they just don't have access to those materials. And it's just truly heartbreaking to me that some of the masterpieces of the medium have just gone missing because people didn't keep the materials. And I think, with scanning now, we all going to have that stuff forever. But it is a really lovely book, and I know that they've done everything they can to get the best possible resources. So that's not me knocking Clover Press at all. This is an amazing project. It's a really nice, obviously huge hardcover book. So these are really cool covers where you can really see the Ben Day patterns and everything. Just really, really well put together books. And then extra cool, since this is like history and we're going to be history buffs, is this volume 13. There's going to be 12 of these, I guess, in this. I think that's what it is, 12 of them. And then this volume 13 is basically a history of the making of Terry and the Pirates and Milt Caniff's career and everything. And it has a lot of where they can get scans of original art. Obviously, I haven't read this whole thing. I just gotten this in the mail a few hours ago. But here you can see some scans of some original art, and so you can see really what Caniff was up to. Hopefully, as it gets later in the series, they have more and more of those, because the Billy Ireland has a lot of the originals. So hopefully that kind of stuff will be kept. But man, it's just so cool to see all this stuff. It's fun to see like how big he worked. Just all these pictures of him in his studio with mannequins, and there's all these publicity shots where Caniff's got like models in the studio, which is funny to me because I wouldn't, like, Alex Raymond, yeah, you'd see him as someone who has models, but I would have never thought Milt Caniff was like setting up lighting and stuff like this. He seems like someone who could make stuff up out of his head, and his style suggests that to me. So sometimes I wonder, like, with these publicity shots, if it wasn't just like, oh, this looks cool, I've got sexy ladies sitting around in my studio. Like, I'm pretty sure Milt Caniff didn't need to have this dude to draw characters from Terry and the Pirates, and I'm sure he didn't need to like chain people up in his studio. I don't know. That's just kind of funny to me. I don't quite believe it. Like, this seems like stuff that somebody could make up. But it's fun. It's fun to see all that. One thing on a quick flip through that really, really jumped out to me is this page here, this spread here, where to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Terry and the Pirates, a bunch of other cartoonists drew Terry and the Pirates characters, and these are all really well reproduced. But you got Hal Foster, Harold Gray, a bunch of, like, here's Simon and Schuster. Sorry, not Simon and Schuster, Siegel and Schuster. So just, it's cool to see all of these big names doing his stuff and paying tribute to him. Funny, no Alex Raymond in there, given what Dave speculates in Strange Death of Alex Raymond. But I had to get this. Yeah, I mean, working on Strange Death of Alex Raymond really made me fall in love with these old strips in a way I never had before, and respect these artists. And I know IDW had these out before, but it was just too much to go back and buy it all. But now that it's like a subscription and I can buy them one at a time, and I allow myself to get new books. I don't go back and buy all the old ones I want, but I allow myself to get the new ones I want. I had to pick these up, and especially to get this. I know it's going to be a while before I can read through all this and really take it in, but to have this all is really cool. So if you have not got on this yet, get on this subscription. This is awesome. This is just real history here, and a real lesson for every artist. So I could not recommend this enough. It's a really beautiful thing, and I'm really glad that Ted got it from IDW and gets to do it over at Clover Press. One of the best ways that you can support what we're doing here on the channel is to support the books that Sean's putting out through Living the Line. The first book that he put out is The Strange Death of Alex Raymond. It's a collaboration between Dave Sim and myself. The book was recently nominated for an Eisner Award in the Best Reality-Based category. It's a deep dive into the artwork and methods of Alex Raymond and the mystery surrounding his death in a car crash. So if you haven't grabbed that already, please do. There's also Yokoyama Yuichi's Plaza, which is a totally intense manga by an artist who has somehow figured out how to distill manga down to its purest essence. This book was successfully funded on Kickstarter, but if you missed the Kickstarter, you can order it through any comic store, any bookstore, Amazon, any place that you would normally get your graphic novels from. The Abolition of Man is a 5-issue mini-series done by myself and Sean in collaboration with the Midjourney AI. What you're seeing here is the cover to issue 1 and the first couple pages of issue 1. This first issue, we fed it an essay by C.S. Lewis, and this is just the imagery that the computer spat back at us. Issues 2 and 3 are a narrative, starting with the story that I wrote when I was 21, and then Sean's going to write issue 3, picking up where I left off. In this one, I'm kind of trying to force the AI to give me the images I want, and then doing some tweaking in Photoshop to get these kind of colored looks on it. For issue 4, we're turning the task of writing over to the AI as well. So the AI has written the script, and then we've just put that into the Midjourney AI, and it's turned out art. The script and the art is some of the absolutely most horrific stuff I've ever seen. We're a bit scared to even publish this issue. And I don't have any art to show for it yet, but Sean and I have decided to do a 5th issue of Abolition as well, because we have someone who we're really excited to have on board, providing an essay for that 5th issue that will illustrate, and we'll announce more about that soon. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.